While exploring the vast outskirts of the galaxy, the post-humans have been able to find many examples of alien life. From the slow-moving pine crabs of Maya to the carnivorous algae found deep in the oceans of Tanu. However, they had failed to discover anything notably intelligent. For years, the smartest alien life known to humanity was a radially symmetrical herbivore found in the high mountains of a frozen planet. Its relatively sharp mind helped it locate plant life in its frigid environment, but it was only about as intelligent as an Earth pig. That all changed when post-human society came in contact with the residents of Planet Sa Dowe. Sa Dowe is a relatively small planet, about 1/3 of the size of Earth, with a single supercontinent and shallow oceans that never reach deeper than 1,500 meters. Additionally, the upper atmosphere was veiled in a permanently dark gray fog that completely blocked out the planet's view of the sky. Due to this fact, very little light reaches the planet's surface, and Sa Dowe's plant analogs have evolved to be almost entirely black in order to photosynthesize more efficiently. Many plants have flower-like structures used to attract pollinators. These structures are typically brightly colored as to stand out amidst their bleak surroundings, often going so far as to be reflective or bioluminescent. The display structures of native animals follow a similar precedent, with fluorescent colors or striking patterns used to attract mates or ward off predators. Overall, the native life is incredibly diverse, but just like the animals of Earth, the vast majority share a common body plan to one another. 3 limbs, a mouth attached to a trunk, and nostrils modified for communication. One notably important Sa Dowan creature is that of the Tanu. Native to the planet's equatorial savannas and fulfilling a similar niche to wild boars, the Tanu have dexterous finger-like appendages at the tips of their trunks, used to dig up the rooted plants that they'd eat. Over time, their trunks grew longer and closer to the ground until they rested at the base of their necks. This allowed them to survey their surroundings as they foraged for food. At the same time, they grew significantly more intelligent, developing complex social structures and using their dexterous trunks to create rudimentary tools, like knives, spears, and eventually, fire. From there on, their technological advancement mirrored early humanity's, with the creation of agriculture and the domestication of several animals. While many of these were to fulfill more familiar roles, like pest control or as mounts, there were other livestock with much more unique purposes, such as the telecool, roughly translated as nurse squid. Bipedal behemoths whose trunks split in two, they possessed an intellect roughly equivalent to the gray parrot. They had a metamorphic life cycle wherein they lay dozens of minuscule eggs, all of which would eventually hatch into tadpoles and slowly develop into fully grown kelicule. A nearly identical life cycle can be found in the Tanu, and as such, the nurse squids were swiftly domesticated to essentially serve as nannies to the Tanuan youth. Due to this, the vast majority of Tanu were in large part raised by an animal that is significantly less intelligent than they are, resulting in a culture that is notably empathetic toward the wildlife of their planet. Something that is further emphasized by the fact that they are strictly herbivorous and have little reason to kill outside of personal protection or pest control. For many cultures, this was elevated to the point that despite being the most advanced species on the planet, the Tanu did not see themselves as superior or even separate to the other animals. There were, of course, plenty of exceptions, and countless people indulged in animal abuse, immoral breeding practices, and other exploitative activities. However, these people were in the vast minority. Beyond that, Tanuan technology continued to advance at a similar rate to humanity's, eventually reaching something that resembled the Industrial Revolution. However, unlike humanity, who began to crowd small, densely populated cities, the Tanu clung to their roots of expansive, loosely knit communities with only a couple thousand people for every few hundred square miles. Due to their evolutionary background as savanna-grazing herbivores, they were extremely claustrophobic and felt much more comfortable in flat, expansive terrain. Because of this, disease became much easier to combat and almost entirely wipe out, even with relatively simple medical technology. On top of this, in just a few decades after the invention of the steam engine, they had developed interconnected railways that expanded across the entirety of their planet's only continent. They had made successful voyages to what few islands lay beyond the horizon and created submarines fully capable of exploring the darkest depths of their shallow oceans. Furthermore, due to their clouded atmosphere, they had never seen the night sky, had no concept of space, and no desire to explore it, nor the knowledge that such a thing was even an option. As far as they were concerned, they had finished science, discovered everything, and made every necessary advancement. Any further progress would simply be welcome improvements on already functional technology. That was, however, until very recently. Sightings of strange metallic beings dotted across the coastline, levitating orbs with glowing eyes and long, winding limbs. No one was quite sure if they were real, but those claiming to be witnesses have been very persistent. Beyond that, the nearby volcanoes have grown more violent, the atmosphere more dense, the planet's surface grew hotter by the day. Something terrible was just beyond the horizon, and no one knew what to expect.